bunch of comedians hanging out with some friends. You're not supposed to be here, but if you're cool, you can come in. If you've ever been offended by anything, don't come in.
There is one, actually. We can put it on.
Well, I mean, I'd like to see what else is on. I miss Ray. I never see Ray enough.
We used to share egg creams at the Comedy Cellar, and then he got a big hit TV show, and they started printing money just to hand directly to him.
He's part of the whole bailout mess. But it's his new show that he took another big leap that's fantastic.
I took a pay cut.
We're trying.
But that's true.
We're trying. Gary gave you your first job in writing, didn't he?
Gary hired me to write jokes for the Grammys.
Yeah.
1990.
Yeah.
You all remember it.
Yeah.
And I do remember some of the jokes.
Fire away.
I remember you had some joke, a country band came out, and the guy had these crazy sideburns, and you said, I've never seen sideburns like that before, and I'm a Trekkie.
That's right. That is one of Judd's joke. And also, didn't you...
That was your joke.
That was my joke.
My joke was, why am I hosting the Grammys? Obviously, I have nothing to do with music, but actually, I do have something to do with music. My girlfriend used to do the guy in Uriah Heep.
That's right out of my journal.
You had one of the best moments I ever saw on television. Bob Dylan had just accepted the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
Right, and it took forever, and it made no sense, and Nicholson presented it to him, and you came out, and after a really long pause, you said, Jack Nicholson and Bob Dylan were just discussing how they should do more television.
What I learned from that. You see, certainly when I started, and I think a lot of comics still feel this way, and haven't made the transition, is they think of everybody as an object. So that's an object for a joke because he was on before me. But if you end up then actually meeting the person,
Yes.
there's an apology necessary.
Why doesn't he apologize for babbling like a madman?
I was running
Now, why can
titles.
he talk? Who's it?
He shouldn't be able to talk before him.
That's true, fair point.
I am. I'm of the younger generation, so I just wonder for all of you, who are you?
All right, now we can talk.
It's so good. It's so good because it's so mutual. The truth is, I saw your special like just a couple weeks ago. I was really into what you were doing, and I said, "Now, who is this?" And then
He thought you were Emo Phillips.
I'm a big fan of Bo's, and you kind of had a quick trajectory in a very short time, and people gave you shit for it without even having seen
Yeah, the
it.
biggest reason people give me shit is since I came on the internet, they said that I didn't get enough criticism. I wasn't in the clubs grinding it out. But the truth is, for the older comics that say that, I want them to read 10,000 internet comments and see if they don't feel fully criticized after that. I mean, like, it's the most vitriolic, personal. I mean, it's one thing for a heckler to have to heckle you on stage and own that moment, but when people are faceless and don't have to get the repercussions for that,
What's the worst thing they've said about you?
The first comment I ever got was when I was 15. It was "Go gadget faggot."
All right, wait a second. That seems supportive.
And honestly, I meant it as supportive.
we were racing to that.
I know, we just cut you right off at the turn.
No.
Sorry, man.
Just as well, as long as someone said it.
So when I first met Bo, I asked him who his favorite comic is, and he said Hans Theeuwen. Exactly. He's a Dutch comedian. And when I met you, you were 9? I can't really talk about it because of the restraining order. I I was just blown away that you would even know who he was.
What's his name?
Hans Taylor.
Can you do a little bit of the thing?
He's a Dutch absurdist. One of the things he does is he brings out a sock puppet, which is a black sock.
See, already I don't like him.
Yeah. all right. It's a white sock.
Oh,
and then he just sings a song and feeds the sock a Baby Ruth. And just crunches in the Baby Ruth the entire time. It's insane. Well, I wonder, it just seems like there's the really only rules about stand-up comedy is you have to stand up on stage, you have to be funny. And there seems to be all these invisible rules that people put up, like, you know, starting with your second best joke, ending with your best joke.
Who told you this?
Yeah, where?
I don't know. I took a comedy class. No, I didn't.
When I was 19 at the University of Arizona, I'd never been in a comedy club in my life. And I saw that George Carlin was appearing at a club in Phoenix, and I took my material naively up to see if he would look at it, because I sat down and wrote some material that I thought was right for Carlin. And he was standing by the bar, and I asked him if he would read the material, and he said, well, I write my own stuff, but I'll look at it. And he said, come back tomorrow night. And the next night I drove back. He, as it turned out, took me into his dressing room and had read everything and said, man, you know, I think you're really funny. I think you're very green, but there's something funny on each page, because I think what he sensed is the essence of something funny. Yeah. And then that can be developed. Because at the core, your essence is funny, then you just attach it to your personality, which clearly should be checked.
Hey, Gary, I got a couple of jokes that I...
Yeah, my Carlin conversations were never really quite that. He would just call me on the phone, and I'd go, hello. He'd go, why don't men like to sleep with their women in the mornings? I'd go, I don't know. And he'd go, do you ever try and open a grilled cheese sandwich? Click. That
was... So he was using my stuff.
Apparently.
Did you ever have a moment where you were like, that guy's amazing, I'm going to go up to him and talk to him?
Well, the first comedy album I heard was Bill Cosby. Somebody gave me the Bill Cosby album to Russell, my brother, whom I slept with. It was my first hearing anyone do stand-up, really, and it was just so natural and so... And he's the one who turned me on to it, you know? I don't say I emulated him, but that style, that conversational style was just appealing.
He was funny.
He was on Letterman last night. He was hilarious, wasn't he?
No, I just... The fear is... As you get older, you don't hold up anymore. Right. And it was great, you know, he's 73 years old, and I was laughing just like I was when he was young, yeah.
Did you picture your career this way when you started out? Is it like what you wanted?
Not here. You know, my goal was to do stand-up. I just love doing stand-up. I was making a living doing stand-up. I did the Tonight Show with Johnny. I did the HBO. I did the Young Comedian Special with this guy 17 years ago. And it was the Young Comedian Special, and I was kind of old then.
Yeah. I noticed that.
I was like 35.
I remember at the time just thinking, Ray is so much better than all of us.
I remember seeing your stand-up and thinking, that guy's going to be a great writer.
I watched outtakes from Raymond on YouTube, and every take you did a different punchline, and each one was funnier than the next.
Well, before we would tape the show, I would sit down with one or two writers and go, let's see if there are any second takes to do that kind of stuff. But I still thought of them.
Yeah.
I just...
He gave himself more of a compliment because that's the preparation that then allows him to get even freer after he does all that stuff.
Right.
That's the Zen Buddhism in you.
Yeah.
You've been on a real introspective journey, haven't you?
Till now, that's right.
No, because Mark and we've talked about this on his podcast, WTF podcast. It's the best. It's unbelievable. I highly recommend doing it. So we get really personal, and we had a conversation where we were talking about how introspective we got and how it screwed with us. And
is that the same as self-obsessive?
In your case, absolutely.
But I mean, how do you make the shift? Introspective sounds like actually noble.
Do you know you're self-obsessive?
Yes.
Then you're introspective.
Well, there's a difference, though. You can still be introspective and not show any of that on stage directly. Like, I don't talk about life.
I mean, you're so clearly, if I make this as a compliment, you are so clearly a very unique fellow that it's clear that just by being yourself, that stuff comes out of you. it doesn't mean that you have to talk about yourself necessarily.
Right. No. Right. Yeah.
Just play along. Just play along.
I know that you've been on an internal journey, a spiritual journey. Would you call it spiritual?
Yeah, it's pronounced spiritual. It's I've been meditating far too long to be happy about anything. I'm at peace, but I really don't know what I want to say about this.
Well, Gary brought one of his monk friends, a very serious monk, to the set of Knocked Up one day. And I was, a little nervous. And what it turned out we were shooting was a woman wearing a prosthetic vagina, and the head would just come in and out for that scene in the movie. And so we have Gary and the monk at the monitor, and I'm just going like, okay, head out of vagina. Head in vagina.
And the monk is in his robe,
yes,
with a shaved head, with headphones on.
Yes.
And there's really nothing to hear except him yelling, "That's too far out."
Yeah.
And yet the beauty of it is I was watching him and he would smile because he felt what was happening was funny.
So in the movie Knocked Up,
Yes.
a head was coming in and out of a vagina?
Well, in the movie it just came out. But you see, Ray, when you shoot a movie...
I thought it was like an indecisive baby.
But we forgot, the key to it is, this monk, is that he has 7 fingers.
Yeah.
And
in total?
In total. And so he comes to our hotel room, and my wife instantly just said, "What happened to your fingers?"
Yeah.
Which usually you would wait a minute to ask somebody. And so now my children are there, and I'm thinking, well, this is a great moment because he'll teach them about Buddhism and this will change their lives.
Yeah.
And so he said, well, in order to really practice and teach, I burned them off. I covered them with cloth, and I lit them on fire, and I meditated as a way of testing myself to be strong so I could teach other people.
And your kids are...
And my kids are like, holy shit, And then I hung out with the monk all day, and then I came back, and I said to my wife, what do you think of the monk? Hoping, like, in addition to the finger thing, she had a spiritual moment. And she just said, that guy's fucking nuts.
Are you that dedicated?
If I didn't bowl, I would burn.
Stand-up comedy and comedy seems so inherently Western. So, like, to understand Eastern,
No.
and that might be me being too.
No, you're.
But how does that affect your perspective on comedy? Because I don't
lay
really
down
think
some
of
wisdom,
Eastern.
man.
Wow.
Yeah.
What happened?
That is the correct question. The answer to that takes a tad of time. I think the Eastern philosophy really encourages authenticity, and nothing but authenticity. What I saw when I saw you on stage is I didn't see a fake moment.
But here's where it gets difficult to explain or understand, is that Bo actually, when he performs, there's a lot of ironic detachment there. There's a lot of, you're not really revealing anything yourself.
I never talk about what I really think about on stage directly, because I just don't value what I think at this point about those issues. Well, just really, like, I don't think anyone wants to get up and hear a 20-year-old, like, tell them what they think about how the world works.
Would you do me a favor?
So I just kind of make jokes.
Would you do me a favor? Would you do Art Is Dead? Yeah. Because I think that song says everything that I think I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, sure.